Yo, this is SoDrum86 bringing you another video. WWE 2K will never change. The reason why I'm making this video is Jesse from the Pro Wrestling Shoots did a interview with the lead designer of Universe Mode. And it was an eye-opener. Yet again, it was another eye-opener. Even though our eyes have been open to this franchise, it was an eye-opener. This franchise will never change. It will never change. Jesse did a great job with the interview, by the way, man. I love Jesse's content. Dude is really cool. Seems like a really genuine guy. And he asks a lot of the right questions, man. He gets every issue, every concern, just everything. Curiosity questions like, when will we get this? He addresses it to these devs. The problem is the answers that we get. Time in, like, time and time again, we get the same answers. It doesn't matter who any of these guys are talking to. It could be Lionel Jinx, Brian Williams, and even the lead designer for WWE Universe Mode. it's the same. It literally, it's the same, and it boggles my mind. And, you know, people might disagree, but I'm sorry. I just feel maybe my sixth sense is off. Maybe my sixth sense is off. But I think I'm right about what I said a while ago. The WWE 2K devs are people that aren't passionate about wrestling. They're not. These aren't people that grew up loving the business, because if they were, I feel like personally there would be way more in this game. There would be things that would be fought tooth and nail to get into this game. Where do I start? Because I don't want this video to be long, but I'm just trying to figure out where to start, man. I'm trying to get all of these things lined up. First and foremost, there wasn't much mentioned for the future. Nothing in this interview, and this kind of goes along with the passion that I was talking about. Nothing in this interview got me personally excited for future iterations of the game. Typically, when I'm watching something and I'm seeing people talk about something that they've worked on, you look for how happy they are. You look for how excited they are. And you know, you see that joy, you see that passion, and they're ready for people to experience it, because they're like, man, I think we really did nail it this year. I think we got it. We got this. We got this. We got this planned. Case in point, NBA 2K. Back when NBA 2K's focus was the NBA portion of the game, the 5v5, right? Pick your favorite team. I pick my favorite team. You pick your favorite player. I pick my favorite player. Back when the game was still focusing on that. Even around the time when the park first became a thing, when they were still focusing mainly on the NBA portion of the game. When you look at Mike Wang and the other developers and the other people that just worked on 2K in general, right? When you heard them talk about the game leading up to release, you saw this joy. You saw these big smiles on the faces of these developers. They were so excited to talk about what they implemented. They were not shy about showing what they implemented. They were ready. They were pretty much like, look, our fans are going to be so excited about these changes that we've made. We've updated this. We've updated that. We've added this. We've added this. And it was all smiles. All excitement, because these people put their passion, they put their heart, they put their love of basketball into this game. And you got that sense back then when you would watch those videos. You got that sense. It was like, man, I'm excited. WWE 2K, on the other hand, when you talk to their developers, oh, that's something to think about. Oh, we could put that on the list. I haven't really thought about that. Yeah, we can look into that. Maybe next year. Maybe not. It all depends on XYZ. Game development is hard, which is literally an answer to a question to Jesse yesterday on his interview. Game development is hard. When have we ever heard a team of people say that, talking about a game and trying to get people excited for the future? Game development is hard. Well, we all know it's hard, but you saying that is really not a good thing, considering the fact that you make a half-assed wrestling game every single year, considering the fact that you barely listen to fans about their concerns and what they want implemented into the game every single year. So you saying game development is hard, that ain't helping. But there was a lot of, I don't know. Yeah, we could do that. We'll put that on the list. There's always a list. We'll put that on the list. How long is this list that they've been piling up over at 2K? Because for the last, I don't know, how many years, nothing barely has been implemented. Okay, so you could do 2-night PLEs. Great. Great. Right now in real life, there's only 2 shows that are going to have 2 nights. And Triple H didn't even want SummerSlam to be 2 nights. That was a TKO move. So we can finally make it 2 nights. Great. That should have been implemented a long time ago, but they made that seem like it was the most difficult thing in the world to do. In which, in this interview, again, you get that sense where there's always a built-in excuse for 2K not doing something that the fans want. This is what gets so frustrating about this game, this company. There's always a built-in excuse on why they can't do certain things, yet when it comes to other games, we don't get these built-in excuses. You know, he said something in the interview where he said, you know, nostalgia is really tough to go up against. I'm like, sir, it's not just nostalgia. It's the fact that these old games, these older titles, these games that came out in the late 90s, these games that came out in the early 2000s, are better than the product that you keep recycling every single year. Why? Because they had more in it for us to do. Why? Because they satisfied the wrestling fans' needs. GM mode wasn't a half-assed attempt. It was a fully fleshed out game mode that they were simply able to add to. Road to WrestleMania added a lot of fun. We keep asking you guys to do something similar. You won't do it. The season modes were great to play through. Let's not forget the things that we could do with the weapons. The weapons had physics. The match types that you finally are now starting to do more of, and you know, special guest referee and all of this other stuff. And this is what you're going up against. You're not just going up against nostalgia. You're going up against the fact that people are seeing how these games were so complete back then. And now there's so many things in these current games that we just don't get. The reason why we don't get them is because there's always a built-in excuse of why we can't get the things that we want to get in this game. Why are we paying you money every year for this title that barely has anything substantial in it? But that's what I got from this interview. It was just a bunch of, I don't know. We don't even really know officially what is coming to the mode next year. There's no excitement for next year. There's no, I didn't get that sense. I didn't get the sense that we would see. I mean, Jesse asked these questions, and I personally, I was okay. We didn't get a clear answer on anything. There was no clear answer on anything. It was just more of the same. I don't know. We can put that on the board. We can add this to the list. We have thought about it. Okay, dude, it doesn't matter if you thought about it. Tease us a little bit. What's gonna happen? Right? Maybe you got to keep tight-lipped about it, but even when developers can't say much, they can say a lot at the same time. And we didn't even get that. There was nothing there that let anybody believe that, oh, next year they're going to do this and do this and do this. We want to know if promos are going to really, truly expand, and to what degree. Instead of telling us that you're thinking about, or you thought of, or it's on the list, you can't find a way to, you know, I know we're still in 2K25, right? We're still in the 2K25. Like, you know, it hasn't even been 6 months. since the game's released. So I know the focus is going to be here, but because of the type of interview it was, it should have been something that gets fans excited for next year. Allude to the fact that, oh yeah, we've already been working on how you can do promos in the backstage area. Oh yeah, we're going to add a lot of different areas for you to do promos. You can't say that? You can't say that at least? This game will never change, guys. This is 2K, man. This is 2K. Unfortunately, a bunch of devs who don't take the wrestling product seriously. This making this a game solely about wrestling is no longer the priority, and it hasn't been for a while now. The priority, you know how long they've been thinking of doing the island and before my faction? You know how long they've been thinking about this stuff? I've been thinking about it for a long time. Just because we just started to see it recently doesn't mean that this stuff wasn't talked about in these board meetings for years now. They were just trying to find a way to do it. They were just trying to find a way to do it. I got to tell you, man, I haven't even played 2K a lot. When I do these videos and you see the main screen that you're seeing now, this is just me cutting on the video so I can talk about 2K and not be playing something different. If I'm going to talk about 2K, I got to have 2K on the screen. It's as simple as that. I haven't even played this game. I have gameplay to upload and all of that stuff, so that will be coming. But I've been playing the Crew Motorfest. I have had no urge to play WWE 2K. And then that interview didn't help. That interview did not help. There was nothing there to get you excited. Nothing at all. The sad thing about all of this is, and I'm going to do the comparison with NBA 2K. Before NBA 2K abandoned the offline players, before NBA 2K gave the biggest middle finger to the players like me, who like to pick their favorite team or pick their favorite player's team and go through a season mode and manage the team and try to make it to the playoffs and win a championship. Before they abandoned the guys like me, what they at least did first was they made a foundation, right? They built a solid foundation to where people were literally saying, before the park entered into NBA 2K and became a big thing, people had for years been saying 2K is the best basketball game. 2K is the best simulation game. NBA 2K has the best franchise mode of any other sports title. They made sure that for years they built and built and built a foundation that was solid enough to the point where technically I could have been done playing 2K back, I guess you would say, during 2K20. But the reason why I still had fun with 2K20, 2K21, and 2K22 is because the game was still solid. The gameplay was still great. The NBA portion of the game was still really, really good. We would just run into issues to where park guys would get frustrated about something. Mike Wang and them would change and update the game, and then it would affect the people who play offline, because what the park guys didn't like, it would work great for if you're playing 5v5 and you're controlling everybody on the court. So there was a lot of that stuff that just kind of slowly got into the to the point where I don't play NBA 2K anymore, alongside a bunch of other things like the microtransactions and all of that stuff. But yeah, at least NBA 2K built up a solid foundation. So if you do still play 2K and you still play the NBA portion of the game, for the most part, you're going to be pretty satisfied. But WWE 2K, on the other hand, no, it's just been a game that has always not been enough. Sadly, it's just been a franchise that it's just never been enough. And that sucks. But I guess it is what it is. I don't really have much else to say, guys, man. I just wanted to make this video real quick. Yeah, I just don't see anything changing. Nothing in that interview gave me hope for future iterations of the game. Just a lot of maybe we can do that. Oh, yeah, we could put that on the list. Oh, it's on the board. But we don't know officially what's going to be allowed to come into the game. Before I go, I wanted to talk about this real quick. I'm gonna try to make this really quick. This will put the put the bow on this video, right? I had a conversation with my mom on Mother's Day, and we were talking about limitations of the past. And with a lot of limitations, it actually created more creativity in a lot of ways, because whether it was a director in Hollywood, musicians, right? I can even speak to that, being somebody who produces music, knowing what it felt like to work on older hardware to hardware now. Even though things advance and they do get better, and there's a lot of benefits to what comes with new technology, it felt like before, when there was limitations, it felt like you had to be more creative, because you had to be more creative. You had to find workarounds. You had to, you know, make do with what you could, and you had to find a way. Now, the reason why I'm mentioning that is multiple videos in the past, I've brought up the fact that with lesser technology, these wrestling games flourished. They did so well and they added in so much. How is it that older technology is able to make a better wrestling game than what we have now? How is it that some of the best wrestling games were available on the PS2, the PS3, the Nintendo 64? Why? The hardware is now so outdated. But you look back and you actually play these games like I do, and this isn't just nostalgia. It's just objectively the truth. These games were better. You had more to do in them. The only thing that 2K has over them is graphics. Not everything was a banger, but with less technology, these devs found a way to make these games great. And now, look at what we get with updated technology. Silly me, I always thought that when things advanced, they got better, naturally. In 2K's case, WWE 2K's case, I guess that's not a thing. Let me know what you feel in the comment section, man. It's your boy Soul Drum 86, and I'm out. Peace.